Hello, everyone, and welcome to the World of Tanks Community Tournament. I'm your host, Wizard Ken, with my co-host and admin, Pontiac Pat. Hello, Pat. How are you doing today?
I'm doing pretty good.
That's good. That's good. We missed you last week. We're glad you were able to make it for the last game and commentate a little bit there. Anyways, guys, let's start talking about what we're going to be doing today. We'll go over our itinerary a little bit, but before we do that, I would like to apologize. This stream will be only showing two sets of games today. We're going to be seeing the DTS versus Immortals, and then Goon Squad versus PLHUS. And then the live stream's going to go down after those four teams play against each other. Unfortunately, I still do work, and I work the weekend. So the last two groups that we're going to be you won't be seeing today is the 8 and RDSQR. I forgot, what does 8's thing stand for? I got there. Law of 8. That's what it was. Dang it! And then the other two teams we won't be seeing today is ETC and LNL, which is Lock and Loaded. So that is, I'm sorry, and it's unfortunate that we won't be able to see them today. And I was hoping we would see them tomorrow, but tomorrow is pretty much a makeup day for anything that might go wrong today. For some reason, if a team couldn't make it or something like that. So, anyways, let's go over our itinerary real quick. Like we said, we're going to be starting at the top of the hour, which is in 2 minutes. I believe the 2-minute warning has already gone off. We're going to be seeing...
So we
Go
have
ahead.
a delay right now. The Immortals are having trouble getting their last two players ready. I have been in contact. He just told me Doxy is on his way, so that's number 7. They plan on having 8 men in the lobby. And he has confirmed to me through Discord that they will be starting even if they have to play a man down. So they're not going to forfeit a round. They've got enough people to play a man down if that's what it comes to. So they've got 15 minutes of grace period. At 10:15 Pacific time, if they don't have all 8 in, then we will go ahead and start the timer regardless.
Alrighty, there you go, guys. So we are running into a little bit of difficulties here with the teams. Nothing major, but, you know, of course, this is a community tournament. This is made by you guys. We want to thank you guys so much for coming out and being a part of this, supporting your teams and stuff like that. But this does happen. We do have real life things that happen, emergencies that happen, and we can't always show up for stuff. Like I have to work today, unfortunately. So this stuff really does happen, and hopefully Immortals can get their other guy here by the top of the hour and stuff. Like Pontiac Pat was saying, they do have until after 15 after the top of the hour to be able to get their team all together. If not, they will start forfeiting. So we'll see what happens on that. But we want to welcome once again for everyone coming out and watching this live stream today. So we want to thank you guys so much for that. So the itinerary today, we're going to be seeing, like we said, as you can see on your screen, Immortals versus DTS. And then our next set will be Goon Squad versus PLHUS. Now, the maps we're going to be looking at today is, and I apologize if I say these wrong, Pat will correct me on all of these pretty much, except for one. Murovanka is going to be the first one we're going to be seeing today. The second one we're going to be seeing today is Provorhorvika, or however you say it, and Mines is going to be our last one. Now, if we do go into a 7th game today, we have seen that happen. We will be going to Insk Assault. And if there is a draw, we're going to be doing Karelia. Is that going to be an Assault or Encounter? That's Encounter, right?
Karelia is Assault.
Assault. I need to write that down. There you go. I'm so prepared for today. Anyways, so yeah, I'm pretty excited to see the DTS and Immortals play. You know, just thinking about last week, we had some really awesome games last week. And I was just super excited to see how everything turned out, especially that last game was pretty epic between the last two teams and just pulling off. That was our last battle that actually made it up to the 7th battle. And it was pretty good. It was pretty awesome battle. And Pat, you were here for
There were
that.
Well, I wasn't here to watch all of the stuff last week, but I went and reviewed the footage for the ones I missed and then got to help with that last one. And there were several really close finishes. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, exactly. It was just really good weekend. So, and we shouldn't see anything less today. All these teams are pretty much new to the tournament, and they've been giving it their all. They've been coming in here and just kicking ass. I apologize for using profanity, but they really have been just putting their all out there and doing what they have to do to try to win this tournament. And I'm really excited for our groups of teams that we've been covering throughout this tournament. So like I said, we're just waiting to see what's going on with the Immortals.
Well, they have 7 players in the lobby now, but they are waiting for an eighth. I'm double checking on that eighth person. Okay, I just got permission to lock the room, so let me do that.
Alrighty, so we're going to be seeing Immortals.
Standard.
We're going to be seeing Immortals going into a game with only 7 guys, DTS with 8.
Okay, let me kick out the extra people.
Alrighty. So pretty soon we're going to be doing the 2-minute warning. Pretty much that just tells the teams they have 2 minutes to start picking their tanks, and we'll see what happens
Okay,
here.
I've started the 2-minute timer and notified the teams.
Alrighty, so there you go. Let's see what kind of tanks they pick out today. This whole series, has been really weird on seeing a whole bunch of different tanks that we did not think we were going to see show up in these matches. And let's see if Immortals or DTS is going to be running some weird tanks for this.
You can definitely tell it's not the first weekend anymore. These teams are on it. They are rapidly choosing their tanks. They've got the routine down.
Yes, and this will make it a lot more smoother for us to just keep going and going and going, so that there's no pauses in between, and that the only thing you guys see is maybe a 20-minute break, 30-minute break in between the two teams or the 2 sets of games we're going to be doing today. So, also, I apologize if you hear my dogs barking. I have no idea what the crap they're barking at. So.
Well, DTS is going for a pretty fast-paced team, it looks like. So who is Lila?
See. Oh yeah, you heard that. I was trying to mute you too, so you didn't have to hear me yell. Lila is my Mastiff that feels like she's the big dog on the street, but she gets tired within like 5 minutes of playing.
Still there, Ken?
Oh, okay. Sorry, I had you muted. I apologize. I got everything backwards. I was supposed to mute you when I said Lila, because I was getting after her for barking. She's a Mastiff, and she thinks she's the big dog on the street. And so she really isn't, because really if she chases after something, after 5 minutes, you see her lay down and she's like panting like crazy because she's too tired. And she's not fat or anything. She's just lazy. So.
Okay, here we go.
Alrighty. Here we go, guys. We want to welcome everybody to the World of Tanks Community Tournament on the Xbox One and 360. We will try to answer anything inside the Twitch chat, but unfortunately, I'm probably going to be very busy doing this stuff. I mean, especially Pontiac Pat, forgive us if he has to mute his mic and doesn't talk as much. He's very busy doing all the stuff behind the scene. He has to look at all the rules. He has to make sure all the teams have the right people on, that there's a certain amount of tanks that are on here, and different things like that. There's a lot of rules he has to pay attention to. So, alrighty. Now this ought to be an interesting map to see people play on. I hate this map. I really do. Especially as a tank destroyer, I hate this map. Trying to shoot at people, and there's so many little ridges and buildings.
This is actually one of my more favorite maps.
Really?
Last tournament, 47R, had mixed results on this map. And whether we did really well or not so well really came down to team communication and coordination. And I think that's really something that this map highlights. The terrain features, you can hide half your team real easy, and so the team that gets the intel and maneuvers to set up the ambush can really dominate. But it's also big and widespread, and so if you spread out too much and the other team pushes while you're spread out, that overmatch can kick your butt.
Exactly, and you can see here, that's kind of what Immortal is doing with their tanks. A lot of them are hiding behind this little ridge line, which no one's going to really spot unless they're able to get a light tank over there to spot them. So DTS is probably wondering if all of their forces here or if only some of their forces are here. So let's go over the tanks real quick since we haven't lost anybody yet. DTS is going to be running an AMX 5100, two IS-3s, RU-251, a T-54, which is a light tank, a M41 Bulldogs, two of those. On Immortals, we're going to be seeing AMX 5100s, two of those, a T-32, two of those, an IS-3, T-54, and an AMX Chafee. So, and the battle has begun over here. Because I was too busy calling out the tanks.
Ooh, Immortals lost a light super fast there.
And it looks like DTS is going to be trying to get Immortals heavy tanks to come out and chase these light tanks.
And it looks like it's happening. They're able to get an overmatch there. Question is, will they be able to capitalize on it?
Exactly. But it looks like the light tanks of DTS are really giving Immortals a run for their money. I mean, they've taken out all of their light tanks.
Right
now a heavy tank from just those light tanks alone. Not bad at all. And it's a 3-3 game, but I feel like DTS was able to give out a little bit more.
Immortals have taken the lead now.
All right, back to 4-4, 5-4.
Oh, wow.
So we got a heavy on heavy match. Hopefully this heavy from DTS comes up from the back and tries to support one of these tanks. I don't know what he's doing. He's kind of just sitting back there. And they lose another light tank for DTS. Immortals looks like they're going to be sending both of their heavy tanks against the DTS's IS-3.
Yeah, the 5100 is probably on reload. That's why it's hiding back there.
A good possibility.
This is a really good first match. You can tell that DTS took their time to set up what they wanted to do on this map, and they executed fairly well. This, you know, could have really gone either way, and it's not over quite yet.
It really could have gone either way, but
loaded 50.
I feel one of the problems that happened is Immortals has a lot of heavy tanks, and DTS went with a lot more light tanks. And they weren't as careful with those light tanks as they should have been. I mean, it was a great execution on going in there and killing some of Immortals' light tanks and heavy, but they really could have used having that extra hit points now and having some tanks still alive. So, and there you go. Immortals takes the first game right now, 1-0. And that's what I really feel is what happened there is really, is that the, you know, DTS just did not protect their light tanks as much as they should have. I mean, they had a great execution, but I feel like just not pulling back soon enough. They should have brought their tanks, light tanks, a little bit back sooner and been able to reserve them for another fight. But we'll see what they do now. Maybe they might change up their ways a little bit. I mean, it wasn't a bad plan, like Pontiac said. So, anyways, we want to thank you guys so much for coming out to the World of Tanks Community Tournament. I'm your host, Wizard Ken, with co-host and admin Pontiac Pat. He's going to be running all the behind the scenes, all the map changes, making sure everybody follows the rules, and so forth. And we want to thank Wargaming and the community for setting up these tournaments. We thank you so much for all of your support, guys, and coming out and watching. So, real quick, Pontiac, have we done our 2-minute warning already, or no?
Yes, it is counting down. We are 134, 133, counting down.
Alrighty, so since we have just under, or just above 1 minute, we're going to go over the teams we're going to be seeing today. Right now, you're seeing DTS versus Immortals. At 2:15 p.m. Eastern Time, we're going to be seeing Goon Squad versus PLHUS, our Polish team. The other two sets that we're not going to be seeing today is Law of 8 and RDSQR. See, I remembered the name. ETC versus Lock and Loaded. Those 4 teams we're not going to be seeing today, unfortunately, because I have to quit the live stream a little early because I have to go to work. So, that being said, right now, the maps we're going to be seeing today is Morvanka, as you can see right here, Prohorvika, or however you say it, and Mines. If we do get to a 7th game, we are going to be seeing Insk Assault, and if there is a draw, we're going to see Karelia Assault, which I would love to see Karelia Assault on this. So, yeah, so we should be getting right down to the last couple of seconds of the 2-minute warning, and we should be hearing that alarm going off pretty soon here. So it looks like DTS is still setting up with their same setup, and it looks like Immortals is using the same setup. All right, we're gonna check on something real quick.
Yeah, sorry, it was I had to deselect and reselect you for spectator mode before it would let me start the battle, so we had a slight delay there.
Okay, that's fine. Alrighty, so we're on to battle number 2 for today, DTS versus Immortals. Ken, you pronounced Mines wrong. I probably pronounced every one of those maps wrong. So, I have no shame in my pronunciation is terrible. But we want to thank you guys for coming out and watching anyways, even with my bad pronunciation. Alrighty, so let's take a look at the tanks we're going to be seeing. Immortals is running 2 AMX 5100s, 2 T32s, an IS-3, a T-54 light tank, and an AMX Chafee light. DTS is going to be running an AMX 5100, 2 IS-3s, RU-251, a T-54, and 2 M41 Bulldogs. So, yeah. Alrighty, here we go. So did Immortals add an extra AMX 5100? Because I felt like they had 3 light tanks last time, didn't they?
Yeah, I seem to recall they did have 3 last time.
So it looks like they might have added that or an extra T-32, possibly. Alrighty, so it looks like Immortals is going to be doing pretty much the same setup on the opposite end. We do that deliberately. Each team switches sides each battle. DTS looks like they are running pretty much the same setup as last time. They have their 4th light tank really going way wide towards the ocean side. Probably to come up behind and get a spot on these guys and probably shoot them from behind without being detected, which isn't a bad strategy.
One thing I'm noticing is that with only 1 IS-3 on Immortal's side, they're really going for the top of that hill heavy. That's really an interesting setup.
Yeah, they are definitely trying to get... I wonder if they're trying to figure out where the rest of DTS is at.
Very possibly.
Alright, so it looks...
They're deployed, spread out, so that they can cover an enveloping move again.
Exactly, and it definitely looks like they caught on to the whole light tank trying to sneak up from behind. They do have that AMX Chafee there that's able to spot pretty far. So
there were a few shots fired. There's a ricochet. Yeah, it's on now.
It is on now. DTS.
Full court press by DTS, it looks like.
Which I don't think that was probably their best move to do. I really Feel like
Immortals were set up for it.
ooh, and we just saw DTS shooting to their own guy there, and that's a waste of a round, being able to take out another tank. They are definitely focused firing on this
Bulldog has
IS-3.
got everybody's attention.
Exactly.
I'm surprised he's lived this long to tell about it.
He made it all the way through that pack.
Yep, he gave the heavies a chance to get in there and trade 1-for-1 with the Immortals, which isn't a bad trade, but they just don't have the Immortals are slowly winning the attrition battle here.
Exactly, and that's what we were talking about the last battle, is that hit points. You know, one of the things we talked about is the light tanks just dying off a little bit quick for DTS, and they could have used them in the end, but they just don't have the hit points to be able to survive that. So, yeah. And
the Immortals just did a better job being patient and focusing, and they were able to just take down. I think what I'm detecting is DTS has got a good basic idea. They need more polish. They need more practice. Their coordination, just a few seconds difference, makes a huge impact on just how the matchup breaks down.
exactly.
And they just don't quite have that high level of precision for that enveloping coordination yet.
Exactly. And like I said, you know, some people like this map, some people don't. I personally do not like this map, and I probably would have been struggling just like DTS is. You know, really trying to figure out a strategy for this map is really hard, I feel.
Well, especially against Immortals, because as you can see, Immortals do have that higher level of polish and that patience, and that's what's carried them through the first game and this game as well.
Exactly. Now, it looks like Immortals is probably going to set up a couple of their light tanks on the flag, and the rest will go hunting.
That's probably the case.
Because they definitely do not want to draw here. If there's a draw, we go to a Corellia Assault. So, if there is a draw, and they definitely don't want that. But there could be still a draw if the AMX 5100 can knock them a couple of times. Get some resets. But their whole team is going on the flag. I don't think he's going to be able to reset anything.
That would take a miracle. And they're hiding the light tank too, so they're pretty well set up.
He's probably telling his buddies, hey, somebody hit the nuke button real quick. And there you go, Immortals takes their second win. Alrighty.
Okay, room options. We are going to Prokhorovka.
Alright, I'm trying to fix something that's messing up on OBS, so give me a second. Yay.
Okay, map is ready.
Alrighty, guys. Well, we're going to be moving to
2-minute timer started.
Prokhorovka. We got our 2-minute timer going off, and the teams are picking their tanks now. So, see how this goes. Today, you're going to be watching Immortals versus DTS. That's the group that's going up right now. At 2:15 p.m. Eastern Time, we're going to be watching Goon Squad MPLHUS. Now, there's not going to be any games playing on Sunday. That's just in case there's any makeup games that need to be done. But if all goes well, there will not be any games on Sunday. So, today's maps... Go ahead.
At least not in our
Exactly.
group. There might be one in another group.
Exactly. The maps we're going to be seeing today, as you saw, Morohovka, Mervanka, whatever. You know what, Pontiac? You're naval. You call out the maps. Call
Mir
out the
Mir
maps.
Mirovanka was our first map. We're now moving out to Prokhorovka. I'm sure I don't pronounce Prokhorovka quite right either. I've heard the Polish guys pronounce it, and they've got a much better pronunciation than my own.
Jesus. I'm sorry. I'm just terrible at pronouncing uh, really weird names like that. And then our last map will be mines if it gets to that point, like a 3-2 or something like that. Each team is trying to get to 4 wins. First team to 4 wins will win the match. If we do get to a 3-3 situation and there is a 7th game that has to happen, we will be on Ensk Assault, and if there's any draws, we'll be on Karelia Assault. So there you go. Now let me take this screen off so you guys can kind of see what type of setup we're seeing here for each team, what tanks they're going to be picking out. Now, we've seen some weird setups before, too. Or not weird, but some pretty neat setups where a lot of people have been going with 4 light tanks and trying to assault that way. And we've also seen only a couple of light tanks. And it looks like both teams are really trying to just do an even amount of probably 3 light tanks and the rest are hit pool tanks. Dun 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 dun. Yo, Ken has the colored backwards. Oh, if you mean by the team colors on the scoreboard, yes, they are going to be backwards here and there, just because I can't switch them that quickly throughout the game. So I apologize for that, but you get the whole point of the scoreboard. Alrighty, so Immortals is going to be running 3 T-32s, 3 T-54 light tanks, and an AMX Chafee. So they are running all 4 light tanks, as I was talking about earlier. DTS is going to be running 110, a T-32, 2 IS-3s, an RU-251 light tank, an M41 Bulldog, and a second M41 Bulldog. So this will be interesting to see who's going to come out on this. 3 light tanks or 4 light tanks. I'm really interested to see what happens.
Yeah, the tank choices are also interesting. The Immortals set up choosing T-32s instead of the more traditional IS. Might give an indication of how they want to play this.
Exactly.
You can see they're all coming up to that F6 position where that gun depression can really make
exactly, and that's what he was talking about. Is pretty much the IS-3 does not have as great of a gun depression as the T-32, and one of the awesome things about a T-32 is its turret armor. It's kind of like the T-29. If you get in a hold down position and the enemy only sees your turret, only thing they can really shoot at is that commander's hatch. You know, the rest of it, you're probably going to bounce off of. So, having T-32s right here is not bad for a setup.
Okay, Immortals are bringing their light tanks back because they detected the light tanks trying to flank them. So, this is really interesting. Are they going to try to pounce on DTS's light tanks while they're separated from the heavies, or are they going to... Oh, this is going to be interesting to see how this plays out.
I think that's what they were going to do. I think they sent that one light tank up just so that the heavy tanks spot him to make them think that all their light tanks are going to push up that way, and then have these other 2 kind of sneak up here. Good possibility.
So the Immortals lost their Chafee from the top of the hill, so they're kind of blind unless they poke their nose up over the tracks, which they're doing. Oh, see, now they even the score because he got caught up on top of the hill as well. So the hill is in a very exposed place to be from the railroad tracks.
Exactly, and there's no safe area up there. You really have to just hold down one side or the other to get away, and hopefully get away. But neither one of those light tanks were able to get away from in that position. So.
Okay, now look what's happening here with the 3 T-54 lightweights down at the railroad tracks. The heavies are pushing across the center in order to get an overmatch 4-on-3 against those T-32s. This will be really interesting. Now what happens is DTS's light tanks have to push over and engage those T-54 lightweights. Otherwise, you know, it won't work. But they're doing it. So it'll be a question now of who can focus fire best.
Exactly, and that's what I'm seeing here. Is I was about to mention DTS is not focus firing really too much. I've seen two tanks working together, and one of their third tanks and fourth tanks were not even trying to help out with taking out a single tank, and I think that might cost them in the end.
Yeah, Immortals have the lead now. No, this is still anybody's game.
Now we've got a T-32.
T-32 and a 110, huh?
Yeah.
Oh, the 110 goes down. That's
Now
big.
the T-32 is full of health, but he's probably having a hard time getting a spot on these light tanks. Remember, light tanks camo is always on unless they fire. Even when they travel, their camo is completely on. So that is one benefit of
One of
having a
those
light
54
tank.
lightweights is almost full health as well. Which one is that?
That would be the one running across
But for
the upper area of the tracks. So
yeah, Leifer there. So this will be interesting to see how they play that because they have the mobility over the T-32. They can kind of set up and pick how they want to pinch him. I'm surprised that Ranius is not supporting Leaf.
yeah, I don't understand what's going on there. Maybe there's a connection issue. I mean, I think he's moving, but I haven't gone down to look at him in a while.
Yeah, he is moving now. I see him back there, but he's definitely playing it way back. That was a costly miss by the T-32.
Exactly.
Being in a tank down, he can't afford to give up.
There's another miss. Now, me personally, I would have stayed on the other side of the railroad tracks to try to use that hold down position and take a couple of good shots at these T-54s.
I think that's why Ranius was holding back, though, is to wait until he got a good flank shot. Okay, now he's getting, yeah, now it's going to go down quick.
And I think you're right. That's probably what he was trying to see is what is the T-32 going to do?
Right.
Once again, we see DTS try so hard and really do a good job, but just can't pull it off in the end there. So it goes...
Yep. Strategy. They just got, Immortals, they just had the fine details, that focus fire and those little things that give them that edge. And that's, again, the battle.
Exactly. And focus firing is such an important thing, especially in these tournaments. You know, as we talked about last week, it doesn't matter if you have 100% hit points left on your tank or 10 hit points. Your gun still hits the same. And if you can continue to shoot at other people and nobody wants to take you out, even if you have 10 hit points, you could be a deadly adversary to somebody. Until you're dead, that gun is still lethal. And that's something that Immortals or DTS really needs to work on, is that focus fire. Alrighty, so we're going to be setting up for our next game. This could be possibly our final game. Our 2-minute warner just went off, or not went off, but started. And this could be it for DTS. Immortals is up by 3. DTS has 0. They need to win this one to be able to make it go to the next map, which will be Mines. So,
yeah, I'm very impressed with Nasser's done his homework this week, getting that DTS team ready to face what is probably the best team in their group. And it's showing. They're really making a couple of really close fights. 2 out of 3 of these fights have been really, really close fights.
yes, exactly. But hey, you say, one of the best teams. I have to, I don't know. Lock and Loaded is pretty up there too.
That's in a different group, though. In their particular group of 4 teams for the round robin stage.
Oh, okay. Well, no, we had them on last week. Lock and oh, in the way it sets up.
Well,
and the way it's
have both E and F, right?
Yeah, there you go. I forgot all about that. So, but no, you're right. Nasser's done really good trying to get his team ready. But Mobius, he is. You guys have seen him live stream and different things like that. Mobius is definitely a challenging person to go against. I've played against him a couple of times, and he's very good. He's very good. He's very knowledgeable. He knows his tanks inside and out. And that's one of the things I always try to tell you guys inside of World of Tanks, you know. I've gotten so many comments on my YouTube channel, like somebody saying, what is up with an IS-3? I keep bouncing off of them. I don't know what to do. They don't have that much armor, blah, blah, blah. But the thing is they don't understand, if you don't study the tanks you're versing, you're never going to know how to blow them up. You know, the IS-3's turret's really powerful. His piked nose is really awesome, but if you figure out a way to get around or get on the sides of an IS-3 or manipulate that piked nose, you could definitely destroy an IS-3 pretty easily. It's all about learning your tanks and where those weak spots are. So, we just heard the buzzer go off. We're jumping into our next match, and we'll see what happens here. And I know Pontiac can tell you right now, he has gone against me a couple times, and he hated me sitting there, what was it, Himmelsdorf in the Banana Road, and all he could see was the turret of my IS-3, and I'm just getting bounces after bounces, and they're trying to hit me in my weak spot up there, but it's hard to do. It's very hard to do.
Yeah, especially you got to be patient enough to get fully aimed in sometimes, and that's tough to do.
Exactly. Oh, wow. So, let's look at this real quick. On Immortal side, we have 2 T-32s, and the rest are light tanks, an RU-251, 3 T-54s, and an AMX Chafee. And DTS is running 110, a T-32, 2 IS-3s, an RU-251, and 2 M41 Bulldogs. And
yeah, I suspect that the Immortals saw kind of what there's a pattern here. A DTS likes to throw their lights out quite a distance from their heavies, and so I think perhaps they tried to set up just for that. But the DTS switched sides of the map, and they're going
the bull.
And so I don't think they expected that.
Now, if you guys don't understand what the bowl is, this is the bowl right here in the F2 area. That is the bowl area.
That's where the heavies are right now.
They're pushing through it.
Though. They're going into the...
This reminds me... No, I know what they're doing. They're doing exactly what they did in the first round last week, where they pushed all the way through to cap the flag. They are going out for a full capping right now. They're hoping that Immortals is just going to keep going towards their flag, and it's just going to be a capping match. But Immortals is waiting there. They are waiting on top of the tracks, and it's going to be easy picking for them because they have this light tank right near the flag that's going to be able to spot all of DTS's tanks.
Yep, they're starting to pick them off right now.
And it looks like Immortals is probably going to set up their light tanks just to sit near and maybe cap the flag if they need to. But I feel like right now DTS is in a very bad spot. They can't get back to their flag if Immortals wanted to cap right now. I feel Immortals could win this if they just started capping. Like, if they wanted an easy win, they could. There's nothing that DTS can really do.
Yeah, they got one light headed back that way. Now a second gone back just to be safe. But it's interesting because the tank choice on DTS, they've really only got the one T-32 that can really make good use of that position. You notice how the IS and the 110, they kind of have to go to the very end of the ridge there to be able to use their guns.
And we're going to get down a little low and just see how close that T-32 has to move to be able to shoot. As you can see, he hardly has to move up at all. But watch as these IS-3s try to get up and try to shoot over that little ridge line. If another one does it. No, it looks like they might be pushing towards the flag now. But as you saw some of those IS-3s pulling back, they were way further up on this little ridge than the T-32. Gun depression can be an amazing thing. And it can also hurt you very much.
I'm curious now what the call was to go and start capping when they were having the shootout. It was 0-0. Were they feeling perhaps that they were not getting the better on the trades? that they were just going to get
It
picked
could be
apart?
that, or that they're feeling the pressure of they have to get a win in to be able to get to the next map. This might not be one of their strongest maps. But I'm not sure. DTS did
Watch
very
that
good.
clock, though. No tanks dead. Immortals have done a pretty good job resetting, but that was a mistake. That Bulldog had lots of cat points, and he pulled out and got himself shot.
Exactly. That's one thing these teams need to focus when they're having their tanks set up on the cap. They need to make sure they... Oh, look at this. DTS actually did it. Wow.
They pull it out. That was...
And you know what, before we jump off this map, if you notice in the middle there, the light tanks that were set up from DTS, I think that kind of kept Immortals tanks from pushing towards their flag. Those light tanks were spotting and shooting at them, and maybe they thought, I don't know what they thought. Maybe they just didn't want to push it. I'm not sure. Wow.
It worked out for them. That's kudos to them. Well played. And I got to tell you, right now in the lobby, I'm sure on their chat, their team is just going bonkers right now. Because I know that our team went through the same thing when we pulled our first victory from Precision Gaming last tournament. It was just, oh crap! Sorry.
Just so you guys can see what happened, Pontiac kind of started the game a little early, so. It's okay. You're allowed one screw up.
I just hit the wrong button.
You're allowed to do that. Ali did the same thing last week where he didn't, remember to switch the teams. So you're allowed one screw up. After this, we're kicking you out of here. Oh, that's great. There's only 2 tanks on here. That's great.
Yeah.
So bear with us real quick, everyone. We're going to be getting this show back on the road as soon as these tanks... Wow. As soon as the tanks kill each other, we'll get back into action here. But
that's what happens when you're doing 4 things at
exactly.
once. I was going to reset the map, and I accidentally clicked when it was still highlighting the start game instead of the room options. It's just such a small thing.
Anyways, we want to thank you guys so much for coming out to the World of Tanks Community Tournament on the Xbox One and 360. I'm your host, Wizard Ken, and my sidekick / host / Vanna White / I don't know what he's doing today, Pontiac Pat. Can you?
It's Mr. Mom.
That's Mr. Mom. Mr. Mom. Can you imagine Pontiac Pat as Vanna White? Like, just amazing. You're sitting there behind your computer with this beautiful, sparkling purple dress. That's amazing. And your wife comes in and is like, "Why do you have my dress on?" I'm Vanna White.
Okay, take 2.
Alrighty.
Okay, room options.
Now we're switching up.
Yeah, because the start battle button is immediately below the room options button.
Exactly.
So mine's standard, 7 minutes. Okay.
So we are going to our 3rd map today, as he said, mines. And one of the things we need to look at on this map is what type of tanks we're going to be seeing coming out of the gate. We've seen a pretty much all light tank kind of battle going through the mines, sitting up on top and trying to fight. And we've seen that battle or those types of plans going down the drain when an all heavy team comes out and destroys everyone. So well, it'll be interesting to see what type of tanks we're going to be seeing on this map. Right now the score is Immortals has 3 and DTS has 1. For DTS to continue to stay in this, they definitely need to keep winning the rest of these matches. So let's see what type of tanks we're looking at here. On Immortals, we're seeing a T-54, AMX 5100, T-32, another AMX 5100, a T-54, and AMX Chafee and T-54. So it looks like Immortals is going for that light tank kind of push like I was just talking about, seeing a lot of light tanks get on there, try to capture that hill area, which does work. It has worked in the past. but we'll see what happens here. DTS is kind of going for the same thing. So it looks like we're going to have the same thing on both teams. We'll just see who's going to play it out better. Who's going to have the better skills here. And both teams definitely have the skills. I mean, the only downfall I've seen with DTS is just not focus firing enough. But other than that, I think they have done a phenomenal job of executing amazing plans. Just like Pontiac said, they just need to polish it. That's it. They just need to polish what they're doing. All right, and so that 2-minute warning should be coming up pretty soon.
Yep, you'll see me flashing my spectator mode right now. Okay.
Alrighty, here we go. This is going to be our 5th battle of the day. Like I said, Immortals has 3 and DTS has 1. These teams are really doing great. And remember, this is the first time for a majority of these teams to be in a tournament. Their jitters are all over the place. Their stomach's probably turning. You know, they're just really excited about everything. The adrenaline's high. And, you know, they're trying to figure out how to calm themselves down and focus on what they need to do. Alrighty, so we're going to be starting on the DTS side in the top left corner near A3. Immortals is near the A, or the, the J6 area.
Yeah, both sides have 3 T-54 lightweights and 3 heavies, but they have a slightly different mix of heavies. This will be interesting.
It'll definitely be interesting, and it looks like they're going to do exactly what I talked about. Light.
Immortals got a good spawn to get up there first, like
exactly. That. And the light take fighting is on.
All out brawl on top of the hill.
DTS really needs to focus fire if they want to win this light tank fight. And it does not look like they're going to win it.
Yeah, the Immortals had better focus fire right from the start.
This is not looking good for DTS. They just sent their AMX 5100 straight up the middle, knowing good and well the heavy tanks were already there. Or at least in a position that would have been able to fire on them. And I'm going to have to say, Immortals is probably going to win this one out of just bad strategy by DTS. They should have changed up there at the last minute once they knew that they did not win the hill. And there it goes. The win for today's first match goes to Immortals. There you go.
So good. DTS have shown, and they're on the right track. That's good stuff.
Exactly. So, we want to thank DTS for trying their best out here. Really good plans, strategies on a lot of these maps. Just on mines, maybe had a hiccup there. Just didn't know what they were going to do. Maybe they didn't even practice what they wanted to do on this. Good job for Immortals for winning this one and moving on. So, let me look at the time frame right now. We're going to be starting our next match at 2:15 p.m. Eastern Time. That's going to be Goon Squad versus PLHUS. They're going to be on the same maps. And that'll be it for the live stream after we watch those teams battle it out. Let me check at what time it is right now. So we've got about little under 30 minutes before the next match, or at least when we'll come back and start commentating again. So in about 20 minutes we'll be back and we will continue the World of Tanks Community Tournament on the Xbox One and 360. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Go and listen to some music. Hopefully it doesn't cut off like it did last time. So see ya. See you soon. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the World of Tanks Community Tournament. We're going to be starting our second group in just a few moments. The 2-minute timer has started for the teams to start selecting. I'm your host, Wizard Ken, with my co-host and admin, Pontiac Pat. Now, today we're going to be seeing Goon Squad and PLHUS fighting it out on the second group. So we're pretty excited about seeing these two groups going at it. Like I said, we're waiting for the 2-minute timer to go off, and then we're going to be jumping straight into a game.
Just want to let everyone know that we were a little unsure on the name of the PLHUS team last week, but we've been straightened out. It is Polska Husaria, or in English, that's Polish Hussars, which literally means Polish cavalry. So there you go. We have their name correct now.
Let me correct that. Pontiac knows how to say the name correctly. I will stick with PLHUS. Oh my goodness! I could never be a esports commentator, because I would probably be like, so I don't know how to say this person's name, so we're gonna go with PLHUS, or that one has the prettier outfits, or something like that. Oh gosh.
When in doubt, you can just say Polish, and I'm sure that will not offend anybody.
Yeah, I think we're good to go on that. So, but anyways, we're going to be starting really soon. We want to thank you guys so much for coming out and watching these teams play today. Our 2-minute warning just went off, so we're going to be jumping straight into the battle. As we talked about earlier, Pat, if you could go over the names of the maps we're going to be seeing today, because I cannot pronounce them.
Sure, our first two battles will be on Mirovenka, which is loading up right now, and then we'll move on to Prokhorovka, and assuming it's not a 4-0 sweep by one team or the other, then we'll go on to Mines. If we get to a 3-3 tie, we will see a 7th battle on Ensk encounter mode, and if any of the battles ends up in a draw, then the tiebreaker for that draw will be on Karelia Assault.
I had it written down as Ensk Assault instead of Ensk Encounter. My B. Anyways, let's see what's going on here. Alrighty. So on the PLHUS team, we're going to see a 110, an AMX 5100, two of those, a T32, and two IS3s with a Cromwell. Pretty much what they ran last week. And on the Goon Squad, we're going to see two 110s. A T32 and two IS3s and an M41 Bulldog, or two of those.
Yeah, this is really interesting. Both these teams are very heavy tank dominant. The one key difference being that the Polish Hussars are running a Cromwell as their light tank, tier 6, which they've done very effectively in past battles. And the Goon Squad is running the pair of Bulldogs, which gives them more flexibility speed-wise and some awesome clip potential. But they lose a heavy to get that, so this will be interesting to see.
Exactly. Now we're seeing our first little fight here in the middle of this little ridge.
Well, I don't know if anybody caught it, but there was a classic traffic mistake there by the Hussars. As that 110 came up and took its first shot, it then tried to pull back, and the T32 had come right up behind it and blocked its retreat, and he took a hit because of that.
Exactly, and I think that was one of the things that we saw last week with them, is that they were getting all bunched up like that and just not having that traffic control.
Polish are pressing their advantage. Those two Bulldogs are out of position. Looks like the Polish have the chance to really put this game away if they push hard like this.
Exactly. We're seeing some really great focus fire from the Polish on the Goon Squad's IS-3, but they're just bouncing. That Pike Nose was doing amazing to be able to block a lot of those shots, but they were finally able to get that Goon Squad IS-3 out of there, and they're just mopping up the rest of these heavies here. And we see the two Bulldogs coming up from the rear, but I don't think they're going to have the ability to change the outcome of this battle at all. What is this?
Not at this point, anyway.
Exactly. The AMX 5100 has kept them spotted. And so it looks like the Bulldogs are just going to come in and have some fun, try to take out a tank, and then see what happens. I don't think they're going to be able to pull this out of the bag. What is their reload time for the clips on the Bulldogs?
Oh, I haven't played mine with the magazine enough to remember that. It's a fairly substantial time. I want to say it's like 40 seconds or something like that.
Okay. Now,
That's why you, I mean, that's the price you pay for a 1500 hit point clip potential.
Now, one of the things I can see that possibly could be a problem for PLHUS for taking this win is if those Bulldogs keep making them run around and try to chase them down. These matches are only 7 minutes long, so if these teams do not finish up the other team, there could be a draw, and we would go on to a draw battle, which would be the Corellia Assault. So
That is a possibility. Bulldogs do have the firepower to keep resetting the cap, and Polish need to get their rear ends on that cap fast because they can't really depend on chasing down Bulldogs.
exactly, they definitely need to get on that cap. Now, this isn't a bad move. 3 of their tanks are heading towards the flag, and 2 of their tanks are heading where they last saw the Bulldogs, which could keep the Bulldogs distracted long enough so that they could cap this flag. So, and I think that's
you
what
see,
they're
they got a heavy giving pressure on the Bulldogs to keep them away from the base. That's a smart move. If they're busy fighting for their lives up close, they probably aren't going to be able to get any good fire in on the base.
Exactly. So that was a good job on them splitting up their forces there.
It's not something that's generally advised, but in a case like this, it's definitely the right play.
Exactly. Sacrifice 1 or 2 people so that you can cap and win. Oh, and someone got a shot off from the flag. Nice.
Yep.
And there you
And they got
go.
both a capture and a kill all at the same time. Great way to finish off.
Great way to go. So it's going to be Team PLHUS with the first victory today in this game. Remember, they have to reach 4 to actually win the entire battle. Now, right now, what Pontiac is doing, he's switching the teams from one side to another, and that is one of the rules that we have. If this doesn't happen, then the game is pretty much thrown out and we reset again. Something that we saw last week happen. So now I don't think both teams are going to really switch up what they're doing. They both really had a good setup there going. I highly doubt they're going to switch up what they're doing.
Now, what won that battle was sheerly just a massive overmatch pressed very well by the Polish Hussars. That was just good basic team.
Exactly. So Goon Squad looks like they're running their 2 AMX 5100s. They're going to be running 2 Bulldogs, 3 IS3s. So they're sticking pretty much with their same thing, just probably changing up their strategy on the map on what they want to do. And it looks like PLHUS is definitely running the same thing too. So we'll see what happens once we get done with the 2-minute warning.
Yeah, it will be interesting to see what the Goon Squad changes in their battle plan from the other side.
Exactly. But we want to thank you guys so much for coming out and watching the World Tanks Community Tournament on the Xbox One and 360. This tournament was, created by the community, people getting together and wanting to do a tournament. And here it is. This is the second season for this tournament, and it's grown so much. We got live streamers streaming tons of different games today. We've got Wargaming allowing us to use their Wargaming account so that we can stream on the Wargaming Twitch channel. I mean, it's just grown so much, and we want to just thank everybody for their support. All the teams coming out. I mean, this is coming out of their own dime in the World of Tanks Silver. Every one of these teams are just using all their silver for these battles. They're not getting reimbursed. I think the only time they get reimbursed is if they win the entire tournament. Is that right?
No, no. After the tournament is over, every player of every team that participated will be getting 2 million silver to reimburse their costs for training.
There you go. There you go. So,
and then the winners will receive additional prizes on top of that.
do we know what those prizes are?
They're posted on the website. I don't remember off the top of my head.
Well, there you go, guys. If you are interested in getting your team into these tournaments, definitely go check out the forums in the World of Tanks console. And go look through there, and you'll find tons of people talking about the tournaments and how to join for the next time. Alright, so here we go for round 2. Let's see if Goon Squad can change up what they did. Maybe do something a little bit different. Looks like the Goon Squad is heading the same way as last time, and PLHUS is definitely doing the same thing too. I don't think PLH.
An interesting thing from last time, you noticed that there were quite a few bounces on the pike noses, and one of the reasons you're seeing more of that is some of those tanks are 110s and not IS-3s. The IS-3, when its pike is angled properly, the pike nose is about 190 millimeters effective armor. On the 110, the upper plates, when angled properly, are, depending on the spot, between 240 and 260 millimeters effective. The lower plate, however, is weaker, and so you will get a lot more bounces off of the 110's pike.
I thought the IS-3 was more than that. I'm gonna have to check that out later.
Now, where the tracks are, right at the very tip, there's an extra few, like an extra 10 millimeters or something like that. But the IS-3's plate, it's enough to stop any of the same tier mediums and lower, but the heavies can usually penetrate it as long as they hit the correct part of the facet.
Oh, okay. Now we see some shots trading off from those bulldogs towards the tier 6 Cromwell. Getting one hit on the Cromwell.
When you notice the bulldogs are staying a lot closer this time.
Exactly. They're definitely staying closer so that they can support their team if PLHUS does a full-out push.
Both teams are being patient. That's usually a good thing.
That exactly.
Seba says he got disconnected. One of the Polish players. Which tank is he?
See, I'm guessing maybe nope, IS-3 is.
Oh, I don't see him on the team. He's not one of the picked tanks.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, I don't.
So, all right.
I don't.
He's fine. He'll need back in the lobby after the battle.
Exactly. Alrighty. So as we can see here, both teams are standing off. One of the problems with doing a standoff like this is that there's only 7 minutes. We talked about this last battle. If either team does not finish off within the limited time, it will become a draw, and we will go to Karelia Assault. So now we see these 2 light tanks from the Goon Squad kind of doing what they wanted to do last time.
They're way out of position.
But I feel like this is something they wanted to do last time, was to head around this way.
Yeah, they're looking for a chance to get into cap pressure, but the problem is the Polish are smart enough to leave a couple of tanks back in a position to cover the base. Now they're starting to move up,
exactly,
though.
And
there might be an opening. The timing has to be perfect, and here they come. Just as the Polish are pushing. This could be really interesting. That timing is about as good as you can get.
Exactly, but one of the things...
We'll see if it works.
Now, the PLHUS can pull this out on stopping them on the flag if they can get their Cromwell back there. And it's The Cromwell.
Oh, they abandoned it. They're coming in to help join the fight. They were just about on the cap, and they've decided not to do it. That may be a mistake, because they were in perfect position to start the cap with all the Polish bundled up there for the
Exactly, but they are getting some shots on the Polish here from the backside. But
now the Polish are pushing over the hill, which means the Bulldogs will not have any shots until they get over the hill
exactly.
themselves. That's going to be 30 seconds or so.
And Goon Squad right now is using their full force to get rid of some of these heavy tanks. And not all of their forces are here.
Wow.
Now we see these Bulldogs are coming in from behind and trying to take some shots, but like you're saying, they should have pulled back and definitely have tried capping the flag by now. Allowing these
Yep, the Polish have the advantage.
The AMX 5100s could have kept this main force busy while the light tanks went and capped.
Ooh, this IS-3 has really taken a beating from that Bulldog while it's trying to get over there and pick off the AMX 50.
Now it looks like one of their AMX 5100s
Bulldogs have backed off.
Is going towards the flag from Goon Squad, and it looks like the Bulldogs are gonna keeping the pressure on the main force. I don't understand this strategy. There goes their AMX 5100. Goon Squad has 3 tanks left, 2 Bulldogs and an AMX 5100.
And those Bulldogs hold them off for a minute and a half. That's a tall order, but not impossible. They need to, they need to get cover. That's exactly right.
Exactly. Really, what they ought to do is they need to start running towards the base. It looks like the Cromwell actually might have an engine problem. It looks like he is actually moving pretty slowly.
Yeah, I noticed that as well. So we've got the 110 leading the way back to the cap circle here. He's got a minute to get there, which is probably enough time, except those Bulldogs might get there in time to finish the job.
Exactly, and the PLHUS
is going to really be close.
IS-3 is trying to get to the Goon Squad's flag.
They're behind the building. This is I think they're going to do it. That building is destructible, but it's going to take a couple of shots, and they don't have the time to do it.
Wow.
AMX 50 protected.
And there you go. Goon Squad did it. There you go. It is too far.
Wow.
Good job. Good job, Goon Squad there.
And not either. That was a close one.
Oops. Put up the wrong score. Wow, really good job on Goon Squad. To be honest with you, I don't think they were really planning on doing that, but you know, after that AMX 5100 got on there and the Bulldogs were like, okay, we got to get back there and cap this. There's no way we can stop this force. That was a smart move to get back there and cap the flag. That was really, really good. Alrighty, so we've already had our 2 battles on that map. We're going to be switching to Prokhorovka, or however you say that name. And we're going to be starting our next battles there. So right now the score is 1-1. And we're definitely going to be seeing mines today. We're definitely going to be seeing mines again.
Okay.
And there's good...
Just invited Seba back in.
Now there is a good possibility that we could see a 7th game today, which would be on Insk Encounter. So somebody said the prizes from the team that wins the tournament is a dream date with Wizard Ken. Awesome! I hope they're paying. If anybody wants to have a dream date with Wizard Ken, all you have to do is pay for my plane ticket and all of my necessities, and there you go. I will be your dream date any day. So, and just, and also you have to watch out for my wife. She might have to come after you and beat you with the happy stick. So, so Mobius just said he'll take me to a nice dinner on the east side. Mario's what? You guys are great. You guys are great. And we want to thank you guys so much for coming out and watching the World of Tanks Community Tournament on the Xbox One and 360. We appreciate it so, so much. I'm your host, Wizard Ken, with my co-host and partner in crime and admin for all of these games. Without Pontiac Pat, we would not be having these games today because I have no idea how to run the admin stuff on the lobby. There's so many rules I have to follow, so many, he's got to check the rosters to make sure that everybody that's jumping in is supposed to be here. He's contacting the team leaders on both sides throughout the tournament, making sure that their teams are ready, or if there's anything that happens, he can stop the game or reset the game, anything like that. He's got to make sure all the teams have the right amount of tanks. There's so many different things he does. And we want to thank Pontiac Pat for doing that. So we're going to be starting up real soon. The timer should be going off pretty soon. Now, I'm pretty excited to see what's going to happen here. This is the second time we've seen a team cap today. We saw, what was it, DTS cap on this, our last game. So, now they tried that the first round in the first week of the games, and it didn't quite go as well for them. They got outcapped by, I think PLHUS was their team that they went against. Wasn't it Pontiac? I think it was. I think it was DTS versus PLHUS, and PLHUS was able to get on the cap on this map a little bit quicker than DTS.
Yes, it was DTS versus the Hussars last Saturday. Yep.
So it was pretty neat to see that. So we'll see if PLHUS does the same thing or not. I'm not going to show you the lobby at the moment because we still don't know if some of these people are going to be changing out their tanks or not. And I don't want to announce a tank coming in and it not being there.
We're down to the last few seconds. I doubt anyone will make any changes at this point.
How do we want to reply to Mobius's thoughts on our date night? He went into detail. A walk.
So I did just notice a last-minute change. They switched out the Cromwell for a Shagwell, a Cromwell Knight.
Ooh. I wonder if that's going to be a
little bit better mobility.
I wonder if that's going to be a little bit better or not for them. I never thought about using the Cromwell Knight.
Well, sacrifices a little long-range accuracy for better up-close
exactly.
dancing, better chassis
so
rotation.
On Goon Squad, we're going to be seeing an AMX 5100, 2 T-32s, 2 IS-3s, and 2 M41 Bulldogs. On PLHUS, we're going to be seeing 2 AMX 5100s, a T-32, 3 IS-3s, and a Cromwell Knight. So we'll be seeing that, those tanks today in this battle. Now, it's going to be interesting because when we watched the last battle between DTS and the Immortals, they were trying to stick with T-32s to be able to get that better angle with their gun depression on this hill area. And we see a lot of IS-3s here on the...
Well, I noticed the Goon Squad started off with the traditional light tank ridge run here on Prokhorovka. That Bulldog went up there and scouted out real fast.
Exactly.
He managed to do it.
And PLHUS is doing a strategy that I actually do in normal games, is I like to sit back there near the edge of the 6 or A6 area, B6 area, and snipe from back there, because sometimes you won't get spotted. And you could definitely get some shots on people that are popping over the hill. But this definitely looks like just...
Well, exactly.
Go ahead.
I was going to say exactly, because as long as they're patient up front and stay down, they can bait the enemy to expose themselves to that sniper in back.
And it definitely looks like that's what they're doing. They're really not pushing up that much. The IS-3's going a little bit further up.
Yeah.
We talked about this in the last match. His gun depression isn't as good as the T-32's. Wow, that T-32 just got double smacked on PLHUS's side. Oh, and we have the Knight is down. So PLHUS has just lost their
you're right.
spotter.
I missed that one.
So if Goon Squad really wanted to, they could take those light tanks and run it down that side and possibly get some shots on these guys from the back end without being spotted. And that might be something they might do.
Possibly.
Well, one of the things I want to point out is if you go over to the F1 area where this one light tank is, it has a nice hill area where you can just sit up on top and shoot down a little bit further on the enemy side. And that's exactly what they're doing, is they're going up high right against the border of the map. And they're shooting down on PLHUS over here. And getting some really good shots in the sides.
Yeah, where Cooter is up there is a classic scout position. Get a camouflaged light tank up there, and he can just rain fire down on.
Exactly. Now it looks like PLHUS sees this is happening, and they're trying to get some kind of tank out there to spot these light tanks, the AMX 5100.
Yep, they've shifted, but that's exposing their flanks to the T-32s.
Exactly.
Over here.
Now will Goon Squad capitalize on that? Don't know.
Ooh. A couple of these Polish hussars are really hurting hit point.
Exactly.
wise.
We got a T-32 almost about dead. The IS-3 just took a nasty hit. AMX 5100 is about half filled. But then again, the Goon Squad is kind of looking the same way. A lot of their tanks have lost a lot of hit points. But one of the things I want to point out is that Polish has left these 3 heavy tanks like we were talking about earlier in that A6, B6 area. And they have a decent amount of hit points left. So if for some reason they lose this top area, they still have a couple tanks with a good amount of hit points that could still take out Goon Squad.
We got a Bulldog. Cooter is trying to work his way down that flank a little more.
Exactly.
He's got to be careful though, because one more, he's down about a third of his health, so he can take a hit, maybe 2, but he's rolling the dice.
Now Goon Squad is right now in the lead 3-1.
There we go. Yes, they've started finishing off some of those damaged heavies.
I feel like they're really pushing over a little bit too much, and PLHUS is definitely taking advantage of that. I mean, we saw that one IS-3 push over too much. That's where that gun depression comes in, where the lack of it makes him have to push out a little bit further than most heavies. And makes it hard, especially where PLHUS is sitting with their 2 heavies. They're down in that groove area.
Ooh.
Wow. Goon Squad got them.
Yep, with that AMX 50 going down, that means that the IS-3 up here at D5 is kind of, exposed position. Those lights are going to come down and probably wrap
Exactly.
them up.
Now, those 2 heavy tanks back at the B6 area, one of the problems they're going to have with helping this IS-3 versus the T-32 is the buildings are all in their way. So they're not going to have a really easy shot to be able to shoot at any tanks. That T-32. Goons.
Yep. Goon Squad is just cleaning up the last few here. That AMX 50 is hiding probably to reload.
Exactly.
If he has a full clip by the time somebody comes over that, we'll know in a second.
It does not look like he has one either.
Yeah, no shots fired.
Not much you could do there, and that's one.
That is a Bulldog's dream right there.
That is definitely, and that's one of the things we talked about. Do you go with an autoloader tank that takes anywhere between like 45 seconds to a minute sometimes to reload, or do you go with a standard tank, that only takes 3 or 4 seconds to reload, but you don't have that quick shooting firepower like you see with those Bulldogs and stuff. So there you go. Goon Squad goes for their second point today. Now this has been a really, really good matchup today. I mean, just back and forth between these two teams. I mean, it's one game out of another. It's like PLH wins one, and then Goon Squad's like, oh, we know how they're going to do it. And then they come back and fight and win one, and then PLH is like, oh, we know how they're going to do it. And, you know, it's so neat to see these two teams just learn from each other.
Timer started.
Alrighty, so our 2-minute timer is started.
Yeah, it's also interesting.
Go ahead.
I've noticed that the two Goon Squad victories have both been with less than a minute remaining on the clock. They've taken their time on their wins, and that's an unusual thing to see for a relatively young team.
Yeah, and they've definitely done their homework. Both of these teams have definitely done their homework on studying maybe the last battles and different things like that. I know PLH US went against Locked and Loaded last time, and I know they felt the pain from that one, and they are definitely coming back, not wanting to lose anything this time. They definitely want to win big time. And Locked and Loaded is a very hard team to fight against. They are very good. They are very, very good because they are a split off from, what is it, PG? Am I right? Is it?
Yes.
So, and that is a team that won the last tournament. So these guys have experience. And so PLH US going against that team and learning, you know, their mistakes. They've definitely come back into this game against Goon Squad and have sat there and said, look, we've learned from our mistakes and we are going to do our best to show you up. And really, to be honest with you, they really didn't do any mistakes on that last match. It was just Goon Squad had, you know, the better advantage on different spots, but that was it.
Yeah, very subtle. Minor changes, shifts on Goon Squad's side, leveraged one little piece of the map at a time, and it built up to the victory.
Exactly, and it looks like both teams are pretty much staying with the same tanks. We'll let you guys take a look at that real quick in the lobby. Apparently Pontiac Pat wants to go with his Ram too. So no, we're just
that's the highest tier tank I have on this account.
We're just joking. Pontiac has to do that once in a while so that he can manipulate the map in the lobby. There's little bugs that haven't gotten
I
kinked
do that
out.
the last 20 seconds before I start the battle, just to give both teams a visual cue that we're about to launch.
Well, there you go. Wizard Ken was completely wrong. I'm just going to sit back and drink my scotch. Anchorman. Just saying.
One of the things that's worth pointing out is it's kind of the strategy to the tournament as a whole. The group that these teams are in is these two teams plus DTS and Immortals. Now, Immortals are undefeated. So they are definitely going on to eliminations. Goon Squad and Polish Hussars both have one win and one loss prior to this. And so this is really, they're fighting for their spot in the eliminations right now. Whichever one wins this series is going on.
Exactly. And you could definitely see that in these two teams. They are definitely trying their best and working their hardest. And we have to just give them the utmost respect on how they've been playing today. So, alrighty. So it looks like they PLH US is taking their light tank and their Cromwell Knight and, you know, kind of trying to cover that hill area in the middle. Try to get some spot on what Goon Squad is doing. And Goon Squad looks like...
It is interesting to see that they've backed up the Knight with an AMX 1390.
Yeah.
That's a little bit different setup than they've used previously.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I'm calling out a light tank, and I didn't notice that. You know, last time they did not have a light tank. They've been mostly running heavy tanks with the one Cromwell. But I guess they want to make sure that they have an extra spotter somewhere.
Well, it's kind of cool to note the difference between the 1390 and, say, the Bulldog with the autoloader. The clip capacities on the two are pretty similar, 1440 for the 1390 versus 1500 for the Bulldog, but the 1390 being higher tier can take more damage, and that 90mm gun has an excellent APCR round that has no problem penetrating these heavies. You probably have noticed the Bulldogs, they were able to whittle down the heavies, but they were bouncing as often as they were penetrating.
Exactly, and we see this IS-3 on Goon Squad just getting torn up by PLHUS here. Now, some people might think where PLHUS is a bad position, and in some ways it can be, but look at what they're doing. They're using the light tank and the Cromwell to spot these tanks, forcing the IS-3s with terrible gun depression to reach over their limit and allow all the other tanks from PLHUS to just snipe at them and take a lot of damage. That's why that IS-3 is almost dead.
Now, if I were the Goon Squad, I would seriously consider pushing all their heavies into the bowl to engage back with, because from the bowl, the IS-3's gun depression is sufficient to the task.
Exactly.
It's a nice, gentle slope there.
Now, we've got a nice little battle over here going with the Knight versus the Bulldog, and the Bulldog's going to win this one with the AMX 5100's help. So we've lost the Knight again.
That's 2 tanks down.
Now PLHUS has got to be, now they got lost another one. It's got to be wondering whether this strategy was a good idea or not. Like I said, it's sometimes a good position and then sometimes it's not.
Well, and again, Goon Squad is being very patient and just slowly but surely whittling the Hussars down.
Exactly, and now PLHUS is definitely feeling the pressure from both sides. They have tanks coming over the railroad tracks near J7, and they also have men at the hill that they have to watch out for. So
the thing that I don't like about the Polish strategy for this is it's basically a modified turtle, and that surrenders the initiative to the other team. And that's Goon Squad's strength, seems to be taking that initiative and slowly and methodically picking a team apart. They have a really good anti-turtle game style.
exactly, and we're seeing that right now. They are definitely picking off PLHUS right now. There goes their last scout, and one of the good things about that is now Goon Squad can use their last light tank to spot these guys and definitely allow Goon Squad to take some really good hits. And to be honest with you, PLHUS is probably not going to see it coming. They're probably not going to see where these rounds are coming from.
Until he pops up here.
Yep. See, he just got noticed that he was spotted. He backed up a little bit, but he did suffer a hit. You can always tell when somebody has been spotted, especially when they've been sitting still. They start turning their turret around all over the place and backing up. They're like, where am I getting spotted from?
Yep.
I do the same exact thing when I'm backing up. I'm like, where am I going to get shot at? Where am I going to get hit at?
And if you have both Sixth Sense and your normal detection, then you can use that as kind of a direction finder. Your Sixth Sense tells you you've been spotted, but the detection won't go off until you're looking at the tank that's spotting you and it's looking back at you. And so when you start turning your turret, when that detection goes off, that tells you, oh, that's the direction they're spotting you from.
Yeah, exactly. So there's a little bit tidbit if you didn't know that. So looks like Goon Squad's going to finish up this AMX 50. Without PLHUS. Oh, that was great.
All right.
He's like, I'm going to get you, you little jerk. You've been spotting me, screwing me over. So Goon Squad goes for another victory on this map, and now we're going to be changing maps to mines now.
Mines.
Now, just a reminder real quick, Goon Squad has 3 wins so far, and PLHUS only has the 1. So PLHUS cannot allow Goon Squad to win another battle. They need to keep this going if they want to be able to catch up and win this match. Goon Squad only needs 1 more point to win this matchup. Now, for some reason, like we said, we do have to go to a 7th game, which we have seen that happen before. We will go to Insk Encounter, which we saw that last week, and it was just great. It was just the best. I have to say, I still remember that game. I watched it again the other night when I was at work, just going through my channel and stuff, and I just wanted to watch that battle again. It was just so good. It was really good. I mean, both teams have just been back and forth, and then that last battle, wow, it was just great. It was great.
Yeah, sorry if I wasn't chatting.
No, that's good.
Checking up some stuff on Discord.
And we apologize to you.
All right,
go ahead.
I was going to say we got about a minute left here.
And we just
before we launch.
And we just want to apologize to everybody that's viewing if you don't hear Pontiac Pat talking during these loading screens or lobby areas. He's doing so much stuff with the admin. Usually he's only able to talk really when we're in a battle, so we apologize for that. Just another reminder, this will be our last teams that we're going to be watching today and live streaming for. Unfortunately, I do have to work today, so I apologize for that. So, but anyways, also, we are not going to have any games tomorrow. Our groups have been doing great. Nobody has to make up a match or anything like that, so there will be no live stream tomorrow for the tournament. I might be doing something tomorrow for World of Tanks, or I might just record something. I'm not exactly positive what I'm going to be doing tomorrow. So, but we want to thank you so much for coming out and being so supportive to the World of Tanks Community Tournament on the Xbox One and 360. And there's our buzzard. Here we go. Let's see if PLHUS can pull it out of their bums and get going on this. They haven't done bad at all. I think maybe that last battle was probably an error in judgment and strategy, but I'm pretty sure they're going to definitely take in consideration their last battle, that they have to win this one, and they're going to change up their strategy and possibly be a lot more cautious than they have been in the other games.
Looking at the tanks, looks like the Polish are heavy dominant again. The Goon Squad has some lightweights out there.
Exactly. So on the PLHUS, we're going to see 2 AMX 5100s, a T32, and 3 IS3s with 1 Cromwell. And on the Goon Squad, we're going to be seeing an AMX 5100, 2 T32s, an IS3, 2 T54 light tanks, and then an AMX Chafee. So looks like Goon Squad's going to try to run up there and capture that middle area. And
they definitely have the speed to do it.
Exactly. Now, remember, we saw this last weekend. Just because you own the top does not mean you're going to win. We have seen where a good amount of light tanks went up top, tried to flank around, and they had a whole bunch of heavies waiting for them and just took them out.
Yep, and the key was that they were patient and didn't push into the trap.
Exactly. Now, one of the problems I see PLHUS having right here is their tanks are getting exposed up here.
Yeah, that IS ran way wide and just got shot to pieces.
I have no idea what he's doing. I mean, he does not have the gun depression to roll down that hill and try to keep pushing up and down. Those light tanks...
Oh, he's trying to counter the position from the top, but I don't think it's going to work for him.
Exactly.
Yep, he goes down. He paid for it.
This IS-3 and Cromwell need to get closer to the mountain. We talked about this earlier. These light tanks can shoot you if you're next to this little ridge. If you're not hugging the mountain, they will take advantage of it.
Yep, they're working over that other... There's another one goes down.
And it looks like PLHUS is just full out frontal assault.
The Polish heavies are doing their work, though. This is a good fight.
Oh, and the Cromwell sets
they pushed together
the IS or the AMX 5100 on fire and gets them that way.
Wow. That's advantage Hussars. Now it's evened up again.
Ooh.
Okay. Goon Squad now. This is back and forth. You can tell that they are desperate for this win and they are fighting hard.
Ooh, but that T32 is definitely giving his backside to the T32 and of the Goon Squad, and it looks...
And that AMX 50 is reloading. He's silent right now. Will he get reloaded in time to make a fight out of it?
And he does not. So Goon Squad wins for today. today's battle. They're going to be moving on, and Team PLHUS is done for this tournament. But we want to thank both teams so much for coming out and playing today. PLHUS, good job. Better better luck next time on your chances in the tournament. You guys are awesome. You did really good. But there's just some, little waxing you got to do, smoothing it out the ridges there to get a little bit better in there. And Goon Squad, congratulations for moving on in the tournament. So, like I said, I'm going to be cutting off the stream very soon. I want to thank you guys so much for coming out to the World of Tanks Community Tournament. I want to thank all the teams for coming out and playing and being such an amazing group of people. And we want to thank you, the viewers, for coming out and watching these teams play and supporting your teammates and your friends and stuff. Thank you so much for that. I'm Wizard Ken, your host, with my co-host Pontiac Pat. Pat, do you have any final words you would like to say before we cut off the stream?
It's been a pleasure working with you, Ken, and I don't know what the schedule is going to look like next week with the eliminations, but I anticipate being back to moderate again, and I don't know if you're going to be streaming or not, but I look forward to hearing and finding
Unfortunately,
out.
I will not be here next week. I will be actually going on vacation, so I will not be here for those at all, so I apologize.
What, you're not going to stream from Hawaii? Or?
Oh, wow, I wish. No, unfortunately, I will not be able to do that. I'm going to be spending a lot of time with my kids, so we're going to go on a little vacation. So, anyways, guys, once again, thank you so much for coming out. We appreciate it, and until next time, see ya.